The Investigator Online TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Welcome to the Investigator Midweek Legal Analysis by our in-house legal scholar, Kenneth Ndawula.
JK Ndawula.
I might mistake your initials. Introduce yourself, boss.
I'm Joel Kenneth Ndawula. Well, not legal advisor, but legal counsel, let's go with that, or legal scholar, here to do the review of some of these bills that have been passed by your judge. Yeah.
Uncle Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
Yeah. Mwita jajja bagamba abazzukulu atwaliramu buli omu.
Yes, and Mr.
Daniel Stabong-Tatia, the Prince of Journalism. Welcome, our dear viewers.
Jaco David Waluka, 24/7 like an AK-47. Like, share, and subscribe. A few days ago, to be precise, on 30th June, President Museveni assented to 3 bills, which then automatically turned into law, which among these are the Lotteries and Gaming Amendment Bill 2023, Traffic and Road Safety Act 1998, number 2, Bill 2023, Value Added Tax, Convention on Mutual Administrative Assistance in Tax Matters, Supplementary Appropriation and Appropriation. However, there is one bill that was returned to Parliament.
Actually more than one, but we are focusing on one today.
Yes, and the one that we are focusing on is the Income Tax Amendment Bill, which was returned to Parliament. Kenneth Ndawula, why was it returned to Parliament?
Well, so tutandike ne mandate, the presidential mandate. Most of these laws, right, ziba ne origin. Wabawo something that informs creating such an amendment or a bill in the first place. Oba ogenda kukola etteeka waliwo ekiba kikuvuze oba ekiba kikusindise okuleeta etteeka eryo mu parliament okubeera debated and for it to be passed as a law. Ekintu kino era twakirabako mu the Anti-Homosexuality Act era yakomyawo yalizaayo n'abagamba waliwo kano kemutatereezezza. So bwe yakomezaawo etteeka lino erya Income Tax Amendment Bill, I'm just going to call it the ITA Amendment Bill, yabadde ayina akawaayiro ke yabadde ayagala kabeeremu nga tebaakataddemu. So he has the right, he has options. Basobola okumuweereza etteeka when Parliament has made the bill. They can send it to him, he can assent or return it with annotations. N'abagamba mukole wano mutereezeemu bwe muti. So that is why he returned. Taine ekintu kyabadde ayagala batereezeemu, in particular balina kye bajjeemu ye nga abadde ayagala kibeeremu, but it was because of a particular misunderstanding. Tugenda oyingiramu simanya obaawo we are together.
We are together.
Just katono nyao. Because he's the fountain of honor. Bwe baleeta etteeka for him to assent to it. Naye ng'alaba waliwo ebitateredde, because bano baba bakoze to the best of their knowledge, to the best of their ability. Lwaki tayita buyisi like a select committee n'abagamba kino tukitereezeemu with him there, then he does assent to it.
So each of these bodies ziba ne mandate zaazo. No mtu wawansayinza otunuulira government bw'ayimba government yetuyambe. Government is, yes, it's one organ, it's the state, but it is divided. So obaawo ne kyetuyita judiciary, obaawo ne legislative arm, which is parliament, then ne executive. Okola amateeka mulimu gwa parliament. Ye nga ye asobola okubaweereza information n'aga nti naye kano mukaddemu ka debating, but he cannot debate a particular provision. That is done by parliamentarians. kati of course oli ayinza omanyi mubaamu abagezi ayinza okugamba nti ate still when he sends back his comments he's still arguing the law, but not in that sense. So for him to call a select few, he is now usurping the power of parliament to sit and debate the laws. Wa parliament egenda okukola etteeka ng'eyise ba stakeholder, egenda okukola etteeka nge attorney general wadde comment ye, every person that is concerned aba wadde their comment, and then nabo baba batuukiridde eri abantu okwebuuzaako where it's necessary. So for him to just call them and say let us change this and that, it underplays everything they have done to that moment. So ekyo kyaba tasobola kikola, tekiri mu buyinza bwe. So mwagala kumanya ensonga eyakomezaawo etteeka eryo. Kati tulina okusooka ne tutegeera ekintu kye bayita residence. Manyi tax laws, taxing a particular person kiba kisinziira ku their capacity, kankiyite bwentyo. Nti engeri gye bagenda taxing omuntu alina business mu Uganda si engeri gye bataxing omuntu aleese business okuva ebweru n'agiteeka wano.
And a foreign investor.
Foreign investor. So there is a difference. Naye we do not use the term a foreigner. We use non-resident or resident. So kati bwetugamba nti omuntu resident, of course mu mateeka wetugamba resident person, kuba etteeka lyagambye resident person, a person will include many things. So under the Income Tax Act, a person would include a company, a trust, simanyi oba trusts muzimanyi.
Tubigwagwamu ebigambo byebyamme, what is a trust?
When you're looking at trusts where you for example, I put certain property in the management of so and so for the benefit of someone else, I've created a trust, something of that sort. Move on partnerships, in which mostly law firms are in the existence of a form of a partnership. Say you are not a company, but you're a partnership. So all those things, and then of course an individual, or a natural person. So when the Income Tax Act talks about a person, it's talking about all those categories. Whether you are a natural person, whether you are a company, or it's a partnership, whatever it is a person. Katinaje nagamba nti in the amendment, yaze nagamba nti agenda kugattamu, they call it insertion of section 86A. Agenda gattamu akawaayiro akabadde mu amendment bill Museveni nga bwe yali ajagala nga kagamba nti ngenda kasoma naye nja kanyonyola temugwamu maanyi. So a tax is imposed on every non-resident person deriving income from providing digital services in Uganda to a customer in Uganda at the rate prescribed in part 4 of the third schedule to this act. So kati ekinsomeseza njagala tutunire ebigambo ebyo bya non-resident and person. So echa person kyonkinyonyodde. Kati what is a non-resident? So bogena mu act gye bali okwamendinga, it provides for a resident person naye ebamenya. So it provides for a resident company, resident trust, resident partnership. So realistically when we are dealing with companies, etteeka lino lyabadde lireeteddwa, they want to capture certain companies. So realistically ngenda kufocusinga ku who a resident company is. Kati a company is resident mu biti bisatu. Ekisooka nti it was incorporated and formed mu Uganda. Wakiraba nti wagitandika ogiregisterinze ogenze mu RSB. Ekyokubiri nti management yayo n'ebintu byonna byekola, it is essentially headquarters ziri mu Uganda. So it might have been registered in Kenya, but then you're managing it within Uganda. Wakiraba. So it's not necessarily a branch. Shiringa bonalaba MTN, the MTN is global, but MTN Uganda, of course MTN Uganda I think was incorporated within Uganda, but if it wasn't, given that it ejja kuteekawo headquarters, ejja teekawo a management setup or structure in Uganda, it becomes a resident company. Ekyokusatu, if majority of its operations are in Uganda. ezo gye mitendera esatu ebiti ebisatu where a company can be a resident company. So etteeka lino oba omusolo gwe baagala okuleeta gutunuulidde non-resident company or trust, but I'm going to focus on a company, non-resident. Era mu bbaluwa omukulu gye yaweereza speaker yabadde amutunuuliza certain companies which is social media companies. Tobola nti bw'otunuulira omutwe ne bagamba reintroduction of OTT, you laugh. Because over the top tax was different. It was imposed on Ugandans, whatever, directly on Ugandans, on the data they were, sorry, on use of social media. Tibuli lunaku osasula agency bibiri. Era zaavanga mu nsawo yo. It was a direct tax. Whatever. Kati of course mujja kubeeramu concerns nti this is still going to be an indirect tax. Eventually these companies will find a way of meeting that tax obligation ng'ate tebafiiriddwa ssente. So bayinza okunoonya engeri ffe gye tusasulamu omusolo ogwo, which is what most companies do. Bwe mba mbadde nkola obukadde 10 omwezi nojja n'oŋŋamba nyina okuwaayo obukadde 2 ku musolo, era nja kunoonya engeri whoever I'm doing business with engeri gye mbajjamu obukadde obwo 2. So that nze sigaza obukadde bwange 10. So that is the situation. Your limit's not OTT. It's a different type of tax looking at a non-resident company. So Bobot and not just all non-resident companies. Bagala focusing ku non-resident persons are providing certain services. So services that knowledge they are digital services provided over the internet. So this is not network service providers, not Temulimo MTN, Temulimo Airtel. They are not being taxed. And in any case, as a resident companies. So, but
so which ones are they focusing on? Ngabo tugambe MTN na bichi kakati zineza social media zo gamba
bebatuwa data.
Kati bebakuwa data now. Otunuulire services zebatunuulidde to include a digital service. Mulimu online advertising, mulimu data services. Naye nga wangambye MTN would still not qualify because it is a resident. So bino biba tebebakwata kaabo. Then of course mulimu services delivered through an online market. Ogenze ku Alibaba, ogenze ku Amazon. Those are the companies they are looking at. Oyina kyoguze. Okay? So zezo zebagalo taxing. And then digital content services, online gaming services. So ebintu byebatunuulidde tutuuse mu kiseera nga the world is very digital. Eyagenda nga mu katale nakasero n'ogula emiyembe, watermelon tokyagendayo.
Onoonya kikuubo online.
Onoonya kikuubo online. Waliyo eyagenda nga mu Kampala Road, Kampala Jinja Road, n'ogula fridge, n'ogula TV tokyagendayo. Ina Jumia, United Simanya, is it Gigi? So you have all those things. And even so, kati abantu importinga nga ebintu, you know, you're buying personal items, but you're buying them off a website that is not within Uganda. So that website is making profit. It is providing services to you, a customer in Uganda. So sente zo ng'omuna Uganda zivudde mu nsawo yo zigenze eri ekitongole kino.
Ate kyo nekita?
Naye kyo nekita wa musolo. So wokiraba nti oba okiwadde sente naye nga kyo tekikomezaawo sente.
Tekikomezaawo.
So government kwe kuvayo negamba nti twetaaga okusolooza ebitongole bino nti bitwala sente okuva mu bannayuganda naye sente ezo tetulina kye tuzifunako. And in as much as no matter your political inclination oyinza okugamba nti era ne bwe banazikuŋŋaanya bajja zirya, but the point is you still have to, you would want nti ekitongole kyonna we kiba kikuggyeko sente zo kiina kye ziwaayo eri government kuba fine bazirya naye ate bwe batazikuŋŋaanya wonaatandika okusaba simanye eddwaliro ddagala bajja kugamba nti tuzifuna sente ezo. So at least zibeerewo, then you deal with the issue of the fact that bazirya. So omuntu yenna oli munnayuganda ng'ojja ssente zo mu nsawo yo n'osasula eri ekitongole kiba kikakatako okwagala ekitongole ekyo okuwaayo ssente gavumenti kuba ebintu byonna bye bakozesa bya mu Uganda gamba we batazikomyawo ekintu kye bayita profit repatriation nti olwakuba ekyo kikola nti yo working in Uganda okoze ssente zonna n'ozitwala ebweru n'ozizaayo mu nsi kyavuwaza nnyo ensi so etteeka lino lyaleeteddwa nga batagetinzaawo even Twitter of course kuba Twitter ekola marketing and advertising same thing with Facebook
but Facebook is not yet officially active in Uganda
mu ngeri ki
tukozesa simanyi VPN.
No, ideally bw'oba okoze etteeka you still have to capture such a corporation kuba kati tugenda linda for Facebook to be legalized and then ogambe okay tukole let us amend twongereko Facebook better to have it generalized it's in general terms and so it applies to even such a company whether or not currently it's functioning so like that is the core of that law of that amendment kyali mukomezaawo kuba kati parliamentarians thought nti ali mukomyawo I think kyobola ne bannamawulire bakomekeredde bagamba mbu OTT
over the top
tax bakomekeredde but it's not it isn't wena ekibuuzo kyobuuza kuba etteeka ndikunyonyodde precise
that particular section which other beauties do we see from the law
other introductions besides this section ate zijja kukola njawulo nnyo ku muntu wa wansi kuba most of them they are quite technical nti and kanonyeyo an example they are very technical by the way kati otunuulira for example section 9 of the amendment nga bagamba nti kawairo 27 in the principal act now it starts with the written down value of a pool at the end of the year of income is the total of that is a calculation of tax so kati nga gwe omuntu wa wansi it makes no difference whether you know this one or not it will just matter to whoever you bring in to pay your taxes kuba ye kati kiba kimukakatako okumanya nti wemba calculating ntunulidde assets zone ntunulidde your income what do I include and what do I exclude so those are majority of the amendments ziri mu ngeri eyo so the radical kyewaliise radical introduction or radical amendment yabadde that section that particular section 86A yabadde gye babadde baleeta ebisigadde byonna they are really more for the lawyer and the taxman
that is our legal scholars view Kenneth Ndawula's perspective on the income tax amendment bill which was returned to parliament waliwo n'ebirala byetwagala okwoneka bitonotono ekisookera ddala the Traffic and Road Safety Act 1998 number 2 bill which was passed nekiraga nti nno abantu bagenda kuva ku kusasula 200,000 to a humongous 2 million shillings as a fine for overspeeding. What does this mean to the lay driver?
So the disadvantage I have is that take it yononyeza online nesirifuna naye you don't even need to be a lawyer to realize that the implication of this law eri nti now the government eringe renegotiating the price of corruption kubakati omuntu olaba badde bamugamba nti tugenda kukuba ekipapula kya mitwalo 2 n'agamba afande kwata yeetaano oba 10 oba 2 okusinziira ku motoka gy'avuga ye n'atema kati bw'omugamba nti obukadde 2 afande ojja mugaba emitwalo 5 agambe ku bukadde 2 do you know how much you're going to pay
ate dda bagamanga omanyi bwe bakigambanga elo eyo tebera yange then afterwards nekikyuka haza iwe nompe emitwalo 2 ndi mwana wa show
so of course I think mubamu so buli teeka bw'oba balireese balina waliwo ge tuyita deterrent, you know, they're supposed to have a deterrence effect. Nti omuntu yenna atunuulira n'agamba okunkwata nga nvuga 100 wennyina okuvugira 800 okusasula obukadde obubiri kanvuga 800 wakiriko ntuukereeti. So that is the idea. Chechimu death penalty. The reason the last time the death sentence was issued was 2007. The last time they actually executed someone was either 2004 in court martial, 1999 in the ordinary courts. Around that time. So the penalty is there, but it is a deterrent effect. So in most cases, similarly to but I think the 2 million is a maximum penalty. In most cases, kisinzira language yeteekeeyo. Kati olw'okuba nti kino kiyinza okuba ekipapula nga bakikubye, so police yeyinza okugamba nti etteeka ligamba obukadde 2 tujja kukuba obukadde 2, but ideally the language ought to be that the maximum penalty is 2 million. So that omuntu gwaba kutte you have a leeway osobola okugamba 5 akamu ekitundu, because that is what courts usually do. Nti bw'oba kugamba nti omuntu bw'aba akwatiddwa omusango guno alina okusibwa at least at most emyaka 7, it means that is the maximum. Oba fine ye sente oba byombi, right? So but I think that it's a challenge for you to say they shall pay 2 million. Nti omuntu akwatiddwa nga over, because ideally abantu abavuga ku kkubo okwo balabika ne mu wiiki obukadde obubiri tebabulaba. And you're just going to impound vehicles or to mutuke nga muina bond ku police, bond ye motoka. If you're going to impound, otherwise omuntu jamu kuba ekipapula jagenda kitereke avuge yeyongereyo. So mubaamu ebintu, waliwo omulamuzi yalinga Mungereza yagamba nti usually when the parliamentarian has made the law, kasita amala okulikola nti katiteeka, they are not even concerned, they even forget that it is there. Nti tukozeeyo etteeka bwe lityo. The rationale behind that criticism yali nti these people kiba kizibu nnyo okufowasinga ebintu ebiyinza okusoboka. That is why there are usually amendments. Kati otaddewo obukadde 2, fine, emitwalo 2 maybe gibadde ntono abantu badde tebagitya, but you must remember we are in a corrupt country. So omuntu ajja tuuka wali, and even if it's not corruption, otuuka kuwa police n'akutunuulira emmotoka gy'ovuga naga naye mutuufu ono omusajja bwe mukuba fine y'obukadde 2 oba okirala naye
emmotoka yakamukitundu oba oliawo
ayinza okuba omuzira kisa n'agamba naye omanyi kwasaayo 5, and it's a win-win for both of them. But naye ng'ate ono gwagambye okwasaayo 5 amutaasiza because he wasn't going to get that money. So that is the first thing. I don't know if they considered such things. Ekyokubiri, let's say that aba police bali observing nti bwebakukwata nga overspeeding obukadde 2 wali kipapula. So you have 2 options. Omusajja mukuba ekipapula omute agenda akisasule whenever he can, which is unlike, it's not a very effective method, which means that ogenda ku impounding emotoka ye omugaye nti emotoka gireke wano genda osasule obukadde 2 okomyewo receipt tukute kati of course ajagirekeyo kuba obukadde 2 tabuyina, probably emotoka yennyini gyali okozesa okukola ki okufuna sente okiraba. So you've taken away a source of income. So the implications of that fine are far reaching. I don't know how the courts will react to this kuba kyemanya abantu babambadde bakubanga fine bagende mu makooti.
Kyembuuza, can somebody appeal ngaba nabantu we bakola kati ebya homosexual loka kati eriwo, a few individuals have gone to court to challenge it. Can't people who cruise around this country challenge this
challenge the law? Now ngenda kusooka mbaze ku the structure tugita hierarchy of courts and their functions. Kati semateeka yateekawo emitendera gye court hierarchy emitendera gyayo. So waliyo Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, High Court, then nezi magistrates ze bayita subordinate courts. Court of Appeal etula mu biti bibiri. Etula as a Court of Appeal, which means egenda wulira omusango oguvuddewa mu Court enkulu, High Court. That is as Court of Appeal. On the other hand, it can sit as a constitutional court. So, wetula as a constitutional court takes precedence. Nti nebweba ebadde ino omusango gw'eri okuwulira, however big that case is, when a constitutional petition comes up, it first leaves those things aside, deals with this. Reason being that when someone comes and brings a constitutional petition, aba alina kyagamba nti either ekintu ekyakoleddwa oba etteeka eryayisiddwa tekikwatagana bulungi na ssemateeka, and ssemateeka alina okuba nga agobererwa at all times. So that is why it takes precedence. But whenever you see a lawyer going to the Constitutional Court to challenge, there must be a ground for that challenge. Ebiseera ebisinga baba bajja, those grounds baba bazijja mu chapter 4 gye tuyita Bill of Rights. Nti gwe ogenda eri n'ogamba nina I have a right to a right freedom of expression, I have a freedom of family education and all those, ziba ziva mu chapter 4 of the Constitution. So for you to say that a law, that's one of the bases, most cases were basinzira. But also you can challenge on procedural grounds. Did you take earlier 2014, the anti-gay bill earlier 2014, the basinzira ku procedural grounds until you didn't have quorum. So that is a procedural thing. Or on the other hand, you could say mandate. Until these people have overstepped their mandate. For example, singa Museveni aita select committee n'agamba lineteeka mu likyuse bwemuti ne bwemuti. Oli ajja gamba one, procedure mwagityobodde, and two, because under Article 79 only the Parliament can make laws, and two, that man does not have the mandate to make the laws. So those are the grounds, but primarily zirina kuva mu constitution. Now, the challenge of saying that they can challenge that law, they would have to find either a human rights ground, a procedural ground, or a ground based on mandate. And I don't think that that is the case here. So singa kisangibwa nti etteeka lye bayisizza erireeta obukadde obubiri lyayisibwa mu butali bumenyi bw'amateeka, that is Parliament yatudde, they discussed, ne bagiwoleza President n'assigninga. Second, the people involved were legally mandated to do so, to be involved. Then you cannot challenge it. It leaves you with only one ground of human rights. It's going to be very, very difficult for you to start arguing that waliwo eddembe erityoboddwa okuva kw'eryo etteeka. Oba oyinza okutunuulira maybe look at freedoms to do with movement, maybe singa kati ontaddeko such a fine, because you also have a liberty to work, to engage in economic activity. Eryo nalyo ddembe eryo oyinza okugaa nti maybe kiyinza okutyobola eddembe lyange okuengage in economic activities because fine gyontaddeko eri disproportionate. Naye kati nze ekindeetera okugamba nti it's very unlikely to challenge it successfully. Waliwo amateeka agaleeta fines ezisukkawo naawo. Bw'otunuulira kati nga National Environment Act. Eyo act bagamba nti there are some things you do nga you have to pay a fine of as much as 10 million, sometimes even going up to the 20s and 50s. Waliwo fines ebakubeeza 1 billion under that act. Naye nga mutuufu ne bweba company nene, a fine of 1 billion is very big, but it's there in the law. So it is going to be very difficult okufuna engeri gyo challenging that particular act. It's going to be difficult because I think they followed the right procedure. I mean, I haven't seen the language because sometimes you can base on the language to challenge it. Yeah. Nainga kijja kuba kizibu nnyo. So
avuge motoka wa kufwa.
Avuge motoka.
Our legal brain, that aside, without selectively talking about these laws and generally in Uganda, do you see Ugandans being compliant with the law?
Ibibuzo byobuuza. There was a period, a particular section or particular aspect of the law or study of the law, jurisprudence. yes, will come such questions. Do you think people will comply with the law? Ebiseera ebisinga abantu babadde nga ba arguing nti what makes a law a law? Churchful take it. Is it because someone has said it's a law? Is that what makes it a law? Yeah, kati abantu abamu babeera ne the line of argument nti ekifule teeketeeka is if it is generally followed, nga bw'ogambye, generally accepted. But that is a very difficult thing to say that it is true. Teeka lisigala teeka ne bwe liba terigobereddwa. So, of course, in Uganda, by and large, people don't really follow the law. By and large, by the way. Kati otunuuliranga businesses, omuntu ajja n'agamba bannayo omuyindi kyatukola. And there is the Employment Act. The Employment Act is very favorable to employees. Kuba under that act, an employee ayina okubanga aweebwa leave, first of all public holidays, or and it's paid leave. Then okumuwa ka leave account maybe 2 weeks during the year of employment when they're off, and you still have to pay them. But how many businesses in Uganda do that? Even an example, the National Environment Act. Very many people don't follow those things. Although that one, at least enforcement, kubanga byebali basinga tunuira under that act is ogenze nozimba mu lutobas, ogenze nokola sand mining, and the reason that one is easily enforced is the damage will be seen, as opposed to katutu dewa no, there is a restaurant, people are working, abantu were employing, and they don't have the money to go to court. But the other side, it's the state that can take you to court, and it has the resources. So I do not think that generally abantu bagoberera amateeka. Even this one, it will be violated. But one of the challenges that you have there is, of course, it has to do with implementation. Okubiteeka mu nkola, okoze teeka fine, naye ogenda diteeka otya mu nkola. Kati nga lino erya 2M, otunuulidde the fact that there is corruption. Because bolowooza nti you will just put a 2M fine and then it will work. You've neglected the fact, the very real fact, that police officers even at 200 were still taking bribes. Kati olowooza okukiteeka ku 2M kigenda kujjawo those bribes. I don't think it will. So ekiremesa abantu okugoberera amateeka sometimes they are very impractical. Nti gakoleddwa abantu n'abatamanyi muntu wa wansi byayitiramu, ne bagenda ne bagakola nga ne gagenda ne gakwata naye nga mazima matuufu you couldn't even follow it if you wanted to.
You couldn't even follow that law if you wanted to. That is from our legal brain. Kenneth Joel Ndawula mu our midweek legal analysis. Thank you very much. Until next time, bye bye.